Hello, this is Colin Dawson with Lockdown Movie Reviews, and I'm just here to bring it to you and tell you exactly what it is. And I gotta say, I got recommended this one movie, and it turned out to be a television series. And it's very nice, it's a very good series. I listened to one of my bosses, I've heard it from a couple other people. It's been on for a season already. Um, Getting ready to wrap up its second season here. It's called The Witcher, and I kind of looked at it. I was like, it's probably something I'm not gonna. It sounds like something I'd like because I do like the D and sci-fi, but I also like movies that are history, other stuff, and romance, and a good bro movie out there where the guys are all getting along and do their stuff together. So I looked at it and I go, okay, I'll check in on it. Checked in, has a lot of cast members that are new up and coming actors and actresses. Got a little bit of list on every one of them, but one of the main names was Henry Cavill. And I was very surprised that Superman, well, I guess Superman is kind of sci fi, he went for something that was very medieval sci fi, something very much out of his situation, something with magic powers, other things like that, where the Man of Steel and some of his other movies that he's played in are very founded in a lot of physicality and science. And I will say, it was a bit of a shock to see him dressed up in the makeup and everything else and portraying himself the way that he does in it. Very, very interesting. And I will have to say, um, in the three episodes that I did watch here late one night and looked at it and said, it has instantly a very wide range of acting that you have never seen uh, Mr. Cavill ever do. And I thought that it was absolutely wonderful, his acting skills in it. Now, while there is a lot of swordplay and sorcery and things such as that, it's not always a shirtless, just male eye candy on the screen. There's actually some amount of history. There are bringing up of very many of the different witches, warlocks, the ancient city that he came from, uh, some of the purging and stuff that went on in Europe. It does center around a lot of historical situations and facts, and most of the sorcery and witchcraft, and even the demons, knowing some of it from arcane situations and exorcisms by the church and things such as that, are actually factually true. And he does go out and does save a couple of people from demonic possession, does go out and defeat the demons. And the last part I saw, he was on a dragon hunt with one guy who wanted to have one last thrill in life. And I have to say, it's very interesting. It's a very well thought out, very well done with special effects and the situations in it. Would I say that it's a necessarily something I'd have gone out and watched if I hadn't heard about it? Probably not. Um, I'm not really big into the Netflix. I've heard that there's a lot of Netflix I should watch, and that they're just as good as the movies for the Oscars. And honestly, this is one of those where it's like I should listen to the people around me. While I will say that the acting in it is very good, um, Mr. Cavell even changes his voice throughout the entire scenery of the entire movie. Every single scene is a different voice that he brings to it. And his interactions do show that he is very different. It's a very different, like, superpowered character rather than Superman. It's very different from his war and espionage movies. And he does have on-screen romances and everything. And he is moving towards his betrothed love at all times that he is seeking out. It's a very good, well thought out, using a lot of ancient monsters and ancient witchcraft and things such as that are kind of factual. You can look these up. These are actually kept around, and it's not completely made up situations. It actually holds to lore of old and doesn't try to embellish or make something new out of it. So there's actually something that holds to everything in the past. One episode in particularly where a girl was made a monster. I was just basically listening to it, trying to do some things around the house, and constantly throughout that whole episode was another name, another situation. I go, that is something out there. Even the grandparents talked about that. Wow, they did hold to that. Let's see here. Yeah, that really does follow it. And I will say, for anything over the, I'm not really sure what type of product to say, the historical evidence over it, the historical script writing, I got to give them, because most people just would score a 4. They're right up there, knocking on number 10's door. And the acting with it is very much up there. While it doesn't feel as fakey as something like the Kevin Sorbo, which I'll be honest, I watched every Sunday with my mom because I was in middle school and high school. It's one of the things she approved of, and I watched that. And it was my little action adventure thing. Then I'd go out there and split wood or something else back in the day. Go run up and down the lake and take this little boat that had a, 20-pound lead battery with a old beat-up trolling motor, and was made to just be on ponds and probably shouldn't have been on the lake, but I had a life jacket. And it's just what we did back in the day. Does it feel kind of as fakey as that? Nowhere near that. People could say it's the evolved version of it. It feels like it's at least 2 solid notches above that. And I would say that it's probably a 7 or maybe an 8. It's a good entertainment. If you have Netflix, I'd recommend watching it. It does have good stories and morals to it. It is definitely something not for the kids in that aspect of it. There is sex, nudity, smoking, which I couldn't believe they put that on there, but it gave it an R rating with the smoking. There is bloodshed, gore, and violence. This is something where it looks like they don't pull the punches. It looks like they choreograph the fight scenes very, very much. They do not rely on CGI to do the fight scenes or other stuff so much, unless it's with a very out there monster. And then they don't really try to have that with a lot of people. They try to rely more on makeup as well as that, which is pyrotechnics and things along those natures. So it's not like you're watching a complete CGI movie. It's just something that kind of shows up in there at certain times. And it is entertaining. And while I would recommend that if you like the genre, I think you will like it very much. If you're familiar with D&D and older situations from back in arcane times of witches and forest elves and forest peoples, and over to knights and legends and some of those situations, I think you would very much like and enjoy this movie. Well, this television show on Netflix. After that, I really think that there would be a lot of situations and everything where most people would probably not want to necessarily see this movie. I think this is a cult classic that if you're into the genre and want a movie that is more realistic to what would be done and wouldn't pull punches and try and play childish, if one would say. This is an adult television series, and it is a serious television series off of its genre. And for that, I will applaud it for being bold and true to itself, as well as the actors and their abilities in it. For me personally, I would say it would be a 7. For me, I would probably watch one or two other things, but like right now where I have nothing on my list, I wish I could move the television out right now, smoke a cigar, because I want my one New Year cigar, and probably have, a glass of bourbon out there with it, and would greatly enjoy it and see if the snow starts falling sometime in it. That we're all waiting on right now to see if we're snowed in. But would I necessarily go out and buy Netflix just for this one series or anything? It's a hard decision. And while I would recommend it if you're into the genre, I would just give this one a solid 7. Even though the acting ability of Henry Cavill shows another depth that he can reach in multiple ways that is so different from his Superman character, you can't hardly look into his eyes and even see that it's him. And as I say, if they can go out there and it's like every time you see this person acting, it's always that person. If you can go out there and see them and you see them as the character in that, and then you look at their picture somewhere else and you see them as the person, that's the essence of a great, great actor. And this is Colin Dawson with Lockdown Movie Reviews.